Game Demo.
All right, welcome back everyone to Live on the Spot. We're going to move now from the lovely ladies of Dead or Alive to the grinding gears of Gatling Gears. And to help me do that, I'm joined by Alex Charlow, product manager on the game. Alex, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
So Alex, what is Gatling Gears and what are we looking at here today?
So right now we're actually looking at a particular mode in Gatling Gears that we're showing for the first time. It's called Survival Mode. Gatling Gears as a whole is a top-down twin-stick shooter. It's got a really robust campaign mode, lots of weapon upgrades, a robust scoring system, big boss battles. Basically, it's a really epic, classic feeling experience. Survival Mode is very unique. So the game itself has online and offline co-op throughout the campaign, but in Survival Mode, the co-op works a little bit differently. So what you're seeing here right now is we are in a set location. We've got two players going side by side, and they've got three basic goals. The first goal is to survive wave after wave of enemies. The second goal is to protect the two water towers that you see in the bottom right and left-hand corner of the screen. If those get destroyed by the little minecarts that are coming in, they lose. But the third, and the really interesting part about this is, even though they're playing co-op, they're both competing for score. And the way you accumulate score is, how many hits you've taken, how much life you have left, how many of those gears you're collecting, how many guys you're killing, how many guys you're squishing. And to redeem those points, you have to beat it. So what you'll notice is when people play, they'll be friendly up until about stage 7 or 8 or
about
9.
wave 9.
Then all of a sudden they get a little shisty with the health, and they'll start fighting with each other. It's really, really, really challenging. There's different difficulty levels, so you can obviously ratchet it up or ratchet it down depending on how you like to play the game. But there's a ton of different enemy types, and it's all about dodging. To be perfectly honest, it's also about not focusing on one thing for too long, because as you can see, there's so many things on screen right now. If you stare at one, you get hit from behind by 3 others. And it's just a really fun experience.
All right, folks, now as a reminder, we are live, so please feel free to send us your questions via Twitter at GameSpot on Twitter, or you can drop them in the live chat right over here, and I will take a look every now and again and try to work them into the show. Now, Alex, can you set the stage for us a little bit? How does this game tie into the storyline from your previous game, Greed Corp? Sure.
So Greed Corp was a turn-based strategy game set in a world called Mistbound. And in this world, the civilizations that live there have kind of gone under an industrial revolution. And while that's yielded some really awesome new machines, it's also causing the world to be stripped-mined of all of its natural resources. This game actually isn't necessarily tied into Greed Corp, but the inspiration from it came from the team building these units and wondering what it would be like to control those in real time. So if you play Greed Corp, you'll recognize some of the enemies and friendly units, but again, it's a whole new style of control.
All right, very cool. So there's a ton of stuff going on the screen right now. It's getting intense.
Survival is definitely the name of the game.
So what are the different weapons that we have access to on our walkers here?
Sure. So your Gatling Gear mechs have a Gatling gun, which you can shoot in any direction. You have unlimited bullets, but the range is a bit short. They've got cannons, which are the rockets that you see them shooting out. You've got grenades, which are very powerful, but take a long time to recharge. And then you've got a fail-safe weapon, which it looks like one of them used already, which is called the Spark Bomb. And what the Spark Bomb does is it clears everything off of the screen.
It's like your panic button.
Exactly, yeah. The problem with that, though, is that if you use it, you get far less points in the end. So you really kind of want to save that one team to get towards the back half. When you're playing through campaign mode, all of these weapons are upgradable, which is great. You can also pick up temporary power-ups, which you might see these guys doing. They look gold. They give you a temporary boost in terms of how your weapon looks, how it behaves, how much damage it does, the rate of fire, the width of fire, and it really kind of changes the experience.
Can you tell us more about how these upgrades work? Am I switching out different weapons, or am I making my current weapons better? Sure.
So in survival mode, you're given preset weapons with the exception of power-ups. In the campaign mode, you'll be searching for pieces of gold, and as you accumulate these golds, you can approach stores and you can sell the gold to the store for a weapon upgrade. Now the cool thing about this is you can downgrade just as easily as you upgrade. So if you make a decision, let's say you want to boost your armor, and then you realize, I'm not taking that many hits, I want to boost my Gatling, but I don't have enough gold, you can get the gold back from the armor, bring that back down, and then boost your Gatling gun up. So there's a lot of different strategies that you can kind of play out depending on your style.
So you can switch it out as need be.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, if you're really good, I mean, you just keep upgrading it straight through. But you know, if you're one of those guys that likes to play hard mode, this game can get ridiculously hard, and you're going to want to manage which upgrade you're using at which point in time.
All right. Well, EJ902 in the chat wanted to know if there was any sort of character customization, and I think we just covered that. So
a little bit, yeah. There's also, as you collect gears through campaign mode, you'll also be able to unlock some really cool special treats that'll give you an element of customization as well.
Really?
Yeah. You have to
want to give us maybe a little hint on that?
You have to wait to see what they are.
All right. So the Gatling boost, that was one of the power-ups that you were just talking about?
Exactly, yeah. The player in the blue mech right now has the Gatling booster, which, as you can see, changes the visual effects, but it also changes the rate of fire, the width of fire, and the strength behind it. And, you know, again, in this kind of element where you're playing cooperatively, but not so cooperatively, those weapon pickups can become premium items.
I think the technical term is co-opetition.
Co-opetition, I like it. Yeah, it's also pretty crazy when you play survival mode in particular, because you both kind of got to do your role. For example, if both players kind of huddle on one side of the screen and ignore the other side, then there's going to be a flood of missiles and weapons coming in from the other side. So you really got to manage your enemies, really kind of prioritize who's giving you the most trouble, where should I be sitting, and how can I dodge effectively? Because if you get yourself stuck in a corner, it's going to be really hard.
All right, so for this map, we're trying to protect these two water towers, but what other sorts of survival mode scenarios can we expect?
Sure, so there is a desert environment where you're trying to protect these trees that are huddled in the center of the screen, and these gigantic tree grinders, or wood chippers, I guess, are approaching, and that stage is a completely different set of enemies. So for example, you'll come across tanks who can temporarily disable your weapons. So if you can imagine this pandemonium and the inability to shoot temporarily gets pretty hairy. There's another mode as well, which takes place on a bit more of an ice level, and you've got lots of bridges and ditches that you've got to maneuver around. So that's a tighter, more compressed space.
All right, very cool. Well, I think I've got one final question for you, Alex. Can you remind the kids at home when your game is coming out and what it's coming out for?
Absolutely. So Gatling Gears will be out on Xbox Live Arcade on May 11th. It'll be out on PlayStation Network in the US on May 17th and May 18th on PlayStation Network in Europe.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us.
Awesome, thanks for having us.
All right.